No, which is actually really exciting to me. My name is Gina. I am a local author, and I like to also call myself a Tri-City transplant. God is funny. My mom moved here at the end of my senior year. We were down in Oregon, and I came here and had one look at Tri-Cities, and I was like, no way. And I joined the Army to not live here in Tri-Cities. I'll tell you more about that story later, but God's funny like that, right? My heart behind tonight is to just bring awareness to the needs of the women in our community and to create change in this place that we call our home. When communities are activated, then and they partner with local nonprofits, then lives are impacted. And when lives are impacted, you guys, generations are changed.
Yeah,
people's eternities are changed. It matters.
Yeah.
I think everyone here probably falls into one of two camps, so to speak. As I share my story tonight, you're either going to be able to relate to some or a lot of it, or you're going to fall into the other category where you can't relate to it, but there was something that stirred your heart and brought you here tonight, even if it was an amazing friend that was like, hey, come with me. And I just want you to know that these women are not so different from you and I. Mm-hmm. They really aren't. I'm going to get emotional a lot tonight, guys. So you'll just have to bear with me. They don't need somebody to rescue them. They don't. There is only one Savior, and it is none of us. Mm-hmm. But what they do need is for someone to meet them right where they're at. They need someone to show them that they are worthy of love. They're worthy of people coming alongside them and walking with them. That someone is willing to get in the mess with them. Life is messy, and it doesn't really matter who you are. And I believe that in order for us to do that, we have to understand the stories of the women. Even if we've not been there and we haven't experienced those things, I'm going to paint a picture so that you guys can get an idea of why somebody makes choices that they make and they can't simply like just choose differently.
Yeah.
And that's where my story comes in. I told you I was going to get emotional a lot tonight. So like I said, I joined the Army. I shipped out on my 18th birthday, but there's a little bit more to that story. I left because I just couldn't take being at home anymore. And it was kind of like my out. My parents divorced when I was 3, and my dad and my brother both moved to Southern California. That meant a plane ride to be able to see them. My sister-in-law's in the front row, so I'm not gonna be able to look at you. I didn't get to see them a whole lot, you know. I can't imagine, well, I guess I lived it, but imagine being 3 and more than half of your family is just taken away and you don't get to see them anymore. My mom remarried, and she remarried someone who had a lot of trauma from his past. And the only way that he knew how to deal with it was to drink. So as you can imagine, my home was just filled with a lot of turmoil, a lot of chaos. It just wasn't stable. At the age of 7, I was molested. At the age of 12, I was already seeking out boys to find some kind of comfort. I had my first boyfriend at 12 years old. That's really young, you guys. Mm-hmm. You can think of a 12-year-old that you know and think of them like being in a relationship with a boy. But there was one thing that I would not do. I would not give myself fully to him. And so by the time we were done with eighth grade, he broke up with me because I wouldn't have sex with him. And then at 14, just a few months later, a guy took advantage of me, and he raped me. These events all shaped my view of men. Mm-hmm. That they will leave you, that they can't be trusted, and that they only want your body. Mm-hmm. There was so much turmoil and trauma in my life. It's actually proven that these type of experiences can cause not just psychological damage, but they can also cause physiological things in your body, autoimmune illness and other things like that. And I actually experienced these crazy episodes where I would get really, really sick and my mom would have to take me to the hospital. No specialist knew what was going on with me. They just thought that it was a hormonal thing, and so they put me on birth control. So here I was, 14 years old. I had been taken advantage of by men in different ways and left, and now I'm on birth control. And my mom told me the only reason not to have sex was because you would get pregnant. So what do I have to lose? What am I holding back from? That's all they want from me. I'm not going to get pregnant, so why not? Sorry, guys. So from a young age, I looked to males to fill the gaping hole that was inside of me. I just wanted somebody to love me, somebody to accept me, someone to tell me that I was actually worth it to them. I carried rejection and abandonment around with me everywhere. I got out of the Army and went to school to become a pediatric nurse. And I had this illusion that I was finally in control. I wasn't in my parents' home anymore. They couldn't tell me what to do. If any of you have been in the military, that's also a really controlling place. And I was not in the military anymore. And by the age of 21, I committed adultery and I had ruined my first marriage. And I fell into just such a deeper pit at that time. The pain of rejection after sleeping with a man and giving my body to him was better than the pain that I felt in the loneliness, though. I would take the rejection over the loneliness. I stayed in relationships knowing that I wasn't the only girl. I'll say relationship loosely, but anyways. Just because I didn't have to face that loneliness. I endured physical and mental abuse in relationships, again, just so that I didn't have to face the loneliness. When you carry trauma around, it can cause you to look for an outlet. And for me, that was sex. It numbed the pain even if it was for a moment. And I was in this cycle where I would have sex with a guy and then he wouldn't call me back. And then I would be just plagued with rejection and abandonment. And then that was so much, I couldn't handle it. And so I would go find another guy. And then the cycle would repeat. For years, I lived in this place. I didn't believe that I mattered. I didn't know that I was created so intentionally by my God. That's the place that I made decisions from. I accepted anyone that would accept me. The way that I lived my life led me to get pregnant for a second time by my boyfriend in 2008. And if I'm honest, I was devastated. I looked up clinic phone numbers. My dad told me that adoption was an option for me. But I kind of settled on the fact that I was just gonna really be a single mom, not to just one kid, but two. I don't know if any of you have heard this phrase, but I was like, well, I'm just gonna have two baby daddies now, which is not a good phrase or a good label to wear. That boyfriend said that he wanted to make things right and be a family, and so we got married, but it was tough. And in 2010, I cried out to God because I did not know what else to do. I couldn't believe I found myself in the same position of hopelessness and loneliness, stuck thinking I never wanted to have one divorce. I can't get two. Like this can't be happening right now. I gave my life to God, and unfortunately, 5 years later, that marriage fell apart too, which is how I ended up here in the beautiful Tri-Cities. My amazing brother and sister-in-law opened up their home. My boys and I came here, and I just got to a point where I was like, I know God well enough, and I know what he's done in my life enough that I can't go back to that old place that I was in. I can't go back to living the life that I lived, but I don't know how to do life this other way. I've never lived life this way. I've never been single and had God in my life where I know what the right thing to do is, but I don't know how am I supposed to walk this out? My journey to healing began, and honestly, guys, it hasn't ended. Does it ever end? But God has done so much. And I'll tell you that has not always been easy, but it has always, always been worth it. God's way is better. I have lived a life of integrity. And, you know, when God wants us to give our lives to him, he doesn't just want us to give part of our lives. He doesn't just want, like, our finances are here, and our family is here, and our church life is here, and our job or our business is here, and sex is over here. Like, it's all his. Our sexuality is included in that. He has such an incredible plan and purpose behind everything that he creates, and he created that too. My heart has been healed, and I finally believe that I am worthy, that I am accepted, and I am loved. And it was because people saw me. Not my mistakes, not the choices that I made. They saw me. They didn't see me for the skewed lies that I believed. And they got in the mess with me. And that's why we are here tonight. To see women for who they are, not what they've done or not what has been done to them. In December 2019, I find myself kind of crying out about the babies that are being aborted. I felt like that issue kind of got highlighted, it got kind of brought to the forefront. Maybe it was just me noticing it, but I was in my room crying out about the babies, and I just felt God say to me, behind every one of those babies is a woman, and that woman is my daughter, and she is broken and she is hurting.
Yeah.
And God reminded me of where I had come from. He reminded me of the life that I used to live, not in shame or condemnation, but just to really help me see what these women were going through, what they were feeling. And if I'm honest, I held a little bit of judgment in my heart towards women that were making choices that, you know, I wouldn't make, until God so kindly reminded me of the life that I used to live. I remember being in that place. I remember feeling worthless, unloved, discarded, and tossed away. No woman should have to feel that. No woman. We have to reach the hearts of the women. No one could have come to me and said, hey, stop sleeping with your boyfriend. Hey, don't live with your boyfriend. You shouldn't do that. Because there was no context behind it. I didn't know any different. I couldn't have made a different choice because that was all I knew. Healed wounds and a healed heart change how you view yourself. And when you believe that you matter, you make different choices, and you don't accept the things that you used to accept. And I'm about to share a statement that might be unpopular, but just hear me out. Laws won't change hearts of peoples or their choices. I'm going to say it again. Laws will not change the heart of people or the choices that they make. There's talk about laws, either changing laws or implementing laws around drugs, around solicitation for sex, around abortion, right? But if we're not reaching the heart of the people,
That's good.
then nothing, no law change or implementation is going to matter. And we've done a really good job of loudly voicing what we are against. But I think we need to talk about what we're for. We're for healed hearts.
Yeah.
We're for women knowing that they are worthy.
Yeah.
We're for women knowing that they are not alone. We're for women knowing that there are people that they can trust. And we're for women knowing that there is hope for a different future. Women need to be met where they're at. They need help to see what God sees when he looks at them, not what the world or what others have said about them. The choices that you make when you know that you're worthy are different. And these two nonprofits, they do an incredible job of that. They're helping women know that they're worthy.
Yeah.
I'm so moved by what they do. They're not just saying a prayer and sending the women on their way.
Yeah.
They're getting in the mess of life with these women, and they're showing them that there is hope for something different. And the beautiful thing is that we can come alongside them and impact women. We can start right where we're at with what we have. And I know that your heart is going to be moved just like mine has as you hear from both of them. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Trisha to you and